Hello. Hi, we're live. I don't know who's up right now.
Who knows? All I know is one thing is Christmas.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everyone. And this is our first live together video that lots been going on. As you know, we're twin flames and we are constantly downloading information about the future, about life, about the universe, and
removing obstacles for many lifetimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Non-stop 24/7 work. And
channeling.
I'm gonna have a sip of water here, bubbly water. But yeah, I mean, we just decided to do a little twin flame conversation, so you can witness like what we go through every day. And
pretty much daily, yeah. We got these conversations with each other. Think of it like you're talking to yourself, but yourself's physically there, so it's not like it's all in your head because your counterpart's right next to you.
And you can talk loud because we don't have a
Oh,
microphone.
okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go forward here.
You don't have to go forward. Just
I don't know.
Anyway,
is anybody
we
watching
can just
right
talk
now?
louder because we don't have a
Is
microphone.
anybody watching right now anyways?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah, I can't see.
But does it matter right now?
No, it doesn't matter.
But our intention for this show is to kind of give you guys a heads up. You know, we're at the end of 2020 and we do podcasts every month and we should be working on that soon.
Most definitely.
But
yeah, what we like to do for the podcast is we do like astrological predictions, and then we also do predictions according to channeling and oracle cards and tarot cards and things like that.
Totally.
So we do a little bit of everything.
So yeah, I mean, basically, our intention for this one show is to kind of have a comical relief here. We've had a really intense day in a really beautiful kind of way. We just got off of a client session, about 2.5 hours, where we were helping a client with this thing that we do called QEC, which is helping them to release any past life traumas and heal from the very core of their being and moving into the future to see what is developing for them. And it was a very amazing, beautiful session. And I hope he's okay with this. We'll share like little snippets of
he or she
of that client in particular, yeah.
Whoever he or she is.
Exactly. Of little snippets of what they also saw in the future, which I found profound. And it kind of overlaps and coincides with the visions that Adam and I have gotten as over time.
In random states of plenty.
Yeah, and we've been like practicing this work for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Ever since we've been together, we've been practicing. It's really interesting too, because I just found out when I turned 33. Two things came to me, and 33 is like a master number. I'm sure a lot of you know about master numbers, and if not, you can always look up numerology. One thing that's interesting to me is that I found out 13 Sign Astrology back when I was 33, and then also this QEC, which is Quantum Energetic Connection. That's what we coined the term there. It was really interesting because I thinking just recently, like 5 minutes ago, or no, probably like 20 minutes ago, I was like, what did I do when I was 33? And then I was like, oh crap, Quantum Energetic Connection and 13 Sign Astrology.
Yeah.
Like it came to me through the cosmos, or source consciousness, as I like
to
to
both
say.
Of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so ultimately, like we've weaved this like profound kind of thing where We do a coalition of things, and you can check our website to see exactly what we do. But I think we should definitely get started with our downloads, I guess you could say.
Yeah, is anybody watching this? I don't even
I
know.
think there's one person.
Oh, hello out there, whoever you are. You can also ask questions if you want to, as well as we continue with our downloads. We're going to see if we can actually.
Well, Adam, why don't you go first?
Focus on things.
Why don't you go first with the downloads that you've gotten astrologically for the following current year that's coming up?
I don't know exactly what those downloads are.
Well, an overall astrological download. Yeah.
Well, I guess for starters, the whole hype about December 21st, how Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct. Well, they are actually conjunct every 20 years, but the fact that it did conjunct this time during December only happens every 800 years, so that is something special. And it's not in Aquarius. If 12 sign, then you probably believe it to be in Aquarius, but 13 sign, or even Vedic astrology, which is like from India and stuff, it's actually in Capricorn, which makes perfect sense because Saturn rules Capricorn naturally. So basically anchors down a new consciousness and builds a foundation. So Saturn is like the teacher that gives us all of our karmic lessons and things, right? And once you move past the karma, then it gives you other lessons, like in a higher consciousness. Like some people think Saturn is evil or something, but I don't go with the whole good evil duality thing as some people go to. So Saturn anchors down that energy so you can build a foundation on whatever it is that you want in your reality, and then Jupiter expands on that foundation. So like you have a cornerstone that starts the foundation, and then if you want to get like a 1-bedroom house, so to speak, or 2-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house with like 1 or 2 bathrooms, it's something like that, analogy or whatever. But basically there's a lot of shifts happening, and it shows also in astrology as well, like different conjunctions and things that are going on. I know that times do seem a little crazy right now, but just know one thing, that your consciousness creates your reality. And I've heard that over and over for many years, and I know it's true. So just remember this real quick. Your intention is what matters most in this reality. If you have pure intentions, you have nothing to fear, right? Yeah. With that intention, you have attention. Wherever that attention is, that's where that energy is going to flow. So your perception bases your reality. So you choose what your attention is focused on, and then the energy flows automatically. The energy will just flow wherever your attention goes. So obviously you see this media broadcasting, yes, spell world, like on a global scale, right? Broadcasting. You yourself can manifest your own reality with your intention and putting your attention to the things that you desire, not the things that you fear, right? Yes.
Absolutely.
And one thing that's really interesting also is that there was a revolution back in like 1775 before America became a country or whatever. And that's going to happen again, but this time it's not like a physical revolution, so to speak. It's more like a spiritual revolution, and it's going to happen sometime in April of 2023, which is pretty interesting because that time is coming really soon. And I don't know if you want to hear anything else about astrology, but she has this information that we were channeling earlier.
Well, I mean, mostly...
Is there any questions? There's somebody wrote something I can't see.
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Hey Frank, how's it going? So, a lot of crazy... Okay, what I'm seeing is like right now, the earth is going through some kind of like birthing pains, and people are birthing with her. And in this process of birthing, things, let's just say that the things of the shadow are losing control of light. So the frequencies are hitting us more and more and more and more and more. And as they hit us more and more and more, the collective, we're actually raising in consciousness. And things may seem like gloom and doom on the news, but actually the opposite is happening. What's happening is that the dark is starting to show its or rear its ugly head in a way more in our face. It was there all this time, but now it's actually in our face because this is the great galactic battle that's happening here on planet Earth. And as this battle is erecting all of this stuff that's been happening in the collective unconsciousness, it's being purified. We are going through a state of Kali Yuga, it's called, and eventually we'll go into the state of Satya Yuga. They say that we're at the beginning of Age of Aquarius, but actually we're starting to cross that path where we're moving into the Age of Aquarius. So we're not there yet, but in the future, 100, 200, 300, 400, it's just going to get brighter and brighter and brighter on the planet, and people are going to be more and more enlightened on the planet. But right now, we're kind of like leaving the old systems and leaving the old paradigms behind and moving into a brighter future. So this is kind of like everyone's having to deal with their shit, you know what I mean? Like their shadow, and they're having to see like what they really prefer in life, what they don't prefer, you know, what kind of government they want, what kind of, if they even want a government, you know, do they want to keep eating food from Walmart, or they want to grow their own food? Do they want to keep using gasoline on the planet, or do they want to ride their bike to work? I mean, everyone's having to make decisions right now.
Or do they want to buy a house for a really expensive price and it's not even worth it, or build their own house for very
do we want to keep using
inexpensive
materials that hurt the planet, or do we want to keep, you know, or do we want to start transferring you know, our materials and start using earth-based materials that don't hurt the earth?
Where you don't have to cut down the trees which provide the oxygen and decrease the levels of CO2.
Yeah.
So you know how they say the CO2 is increasing due to human and their consumption.
Yes.
No, more than likely it's because the trees keep getting cut down. So
yeah,
just
and
keep
like
that in mind.
And if you're an investor, I definitely saw some investment possibilities for the future. One being hemp, and the other being
3D printing.
3D printing, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So 3D printing, I definitely saw in the future is going to, it's almost like 3D printing is the future. You know, people are going to not manufacture things the same way anymore. They're going to start printing more things, like printing homes, printing earth-based materials, printing cars. You know, like I saw
even
like
printing gold.
Adam saw printing gold. So like, and this is stuff that we're not researching on. We're actually getting these downloads of the future. We definitely saw the future having or integrating more like frequency technologies, you know, like things about the medical industry transforming, where people are not going to
rely on medicine.
Yeah, like rely on pills anymore, and like opioids and stuff like that. Like people are going to actually start moving into more frequency-based medicine.
Like light and sound healing.
Yeah.
This stuff is just miraculous. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Sound itself is a 7th dimensional frequency. So, like, you know, you hear that awesome song that you just can't get out of your head. More than likely, it's providing healing for you because you like it so much. That frequency of love through that song.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like massive positive changes that are happening. So like,
regardless of what the media is saying.
Yeah, I mean, the media is putting a lot of doom and gloom because this is their last chance of controlling humanity, but it's a slippery slope for them. They cannot even do half the things they were doing in the past. Like, they're being completely exposed. People are waking up.
Yep, a lot of people are starting to realize that it doesn't matter what news channel you watch, it's all scripted.
Yeah.
It's called Operation Mockingbird. They say the exact same thing no matter what channel you're watching.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, this is the stuff that Adam and I like talk about all the time, where we're just like getting these blips of downloads, or we're doing our QEC sessions and we're like getting these downloads. But like, you know, ultimately, this is a time where we're starting to also realize our eternal nature. Death is an illusion. And yes, you might see your grandmother or your great grandfather in the casket and all that stuff. We've all had someone in our life that's passed away. But in the future, I believe that we're going to start to live longer. And as a result,
we make our choice when to leave and when to stay.
Exactly. Like, we don't have to die if we don't want to. And this is not about some weird, like, conspiracy way of doing things. This is like the natural reality of living. Like, you know, if we start repairing the earth and we start cleaning the waters and we start developing technologies that are actually like
beneficial,
yeah, like helping people.
Beneficial to humanity and not destroying it, like processed food and things like that, you know, like stuff that's like really made from the earth with the love of the earth, instead of some manipulated, man-made toxic waste that we've been consuming for so many years.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, I think it's called glyphosate. It's like Agent Orange. They used it on their own soldiers back in the Vietnam War. And now we've been ingesting that for so many years, but we're so resilient. And it's that whole survival of the fittest thing where, like, no offense, but the other beings, they look at the human race like cockroaches, and they're like, these guys are just so resilient, there's no way to off them.
Exactly. I get these weird, like, thoughts of, like, they tried to kill me with glyphosate, they tried to kill me with vaccines, they've tried to kill me with chemtrails, they tried to kill me with this and that, and we just still live.
Well, they tried to kill me with prednisone.
Well, when I mean
for
like
12 years.
Well, when I mean me, I mean like all of us, like
yeah.
all of us. You know, they've tried to like kill us off, and it's just not working. Like, how frustrating for them, right?
And then you come to the understanding, once you reach that point of awareness, that we're all spirits having a human experience. Like, we are always spirits. That's what we are. The little spark inside of us that's running this meat suit or whatever you want to call it, you know. It's just like when you go through those sessions, which we were mentioning earlier, QEC, we call it the quantum energetic connection. And people go through many different lifetimes. It's like you're in a different change of clothes, you know. You don't wear the same clothes day in, day out, because eventually the clothes wear out, right? And they get holes in them and everything. That's kind of like these bodies, right? But people are starting to realize that it all depends on your consciousness that creates your reality.
Yeah.
So if you choose not to age in this body anymore, then you won't.
And one thing I notice is that when we do QEC sessions, like, you know, like, even with other people, like, what I notice is that, like, their past lives tend to link with their current life. Like, there's some kind of common theme.
Oh, yeah, because it's the same spirit.
Yeah.
Just different time. But also the fact, though, that you do notice that is because the past, the present, and the future are simultaneously happening.
And I believe this is what Christ saw, too. Speaking of Christmas, right? Christ was a very enlightened being who saw that we needed to forgive, and we needed to love, and we needed to live in these higher vibrations. And in order to do that, like, we had to know and be aware of, like, the things of our past, for example, like things in past lives and things that are kind of like leaking into this current life. Because if we don't deal with it now, like even the Native Americans say, you have to heal your now, your current life now, so that you can heal 7 generations before you and 7 generations after you. And that, I think, creates the quantum leap into, you know, that new paradigm of living where if everyone on the planet were to truly heal themselves of past, present, and future, we could literally take that quantum leap of like a new paradigm, like seventh dimensional, eighth and ninth and 10th and so on. But because everyone's kind of like holding on to their stuff and reenacting the same karmas over and over and over again, it's like we can't take that leap until that happens. But luckily we have the forces and we have the energies that are coming from our cosmic brothers and sisters, from the energies of the evolution of the planet and things like that, that are also, you know, helping us to make that shift. And those shifts are happening a lot quicker than I think we realize. And that's why, like, you know, our galactic brothers and sisters, they're like witnessing like this grand event, you know, happening on Earth right now. They're like, whoa, like you guys are like the most exciting people to watch right now, because like we're like doing a lot of stuff right now. And I think that everyone needs to like
clearing many generations,
pat themselves on the back firstly for being here in one of the most challenging times in the universe. And, you know, just like really inner child work, like, you know, we keep coming back to this, like how important it is to heal the inner child, to love your inner child and to hug him or her and kiss him, you know, just kiss them and love them, because your inner child holds the key to heaven. You know, I think that's in the Bible. I think that Jesus even said that.
Return as a child.
We have to return. And I'm not trying to be religious. Like, I'm not even religious about it. It's just kind of like common sense. Like, we need to heal our inner child in order to move into the new dimensions of who we are in our evolution, in a psychological way even, you know, in a scientific way even.
Return to that stage of innocence where you're like all loving and stuff and curious about life, you know, like you're just so excited to see what life has to offer you. And there is no fear except for the fear that has been programmed as you grew and experienced things. But as a child, there was no fear, there was only love. And that's basically what we're saying, is it's good to do the things you love to do as a child to bring that love back into your life.
Yeah.
Like, if you like to climb trees as a child, then by all means go out and climb a tree. If you want to go to the zoo as a child, then go to the zoo now. If you like to draw or doodle as a child, then do it now, you know, because you're in that frequency of love when you are doing the things that you love.
So does anyone have any questions out there?
Before we read into that thing?
I don't know, I felt like we covered it already.
Not yet. I know there's some other stuff that we could talk about.
Well, we took some notes from before, and you know, I don't want to like expose anyone here, but I just want to say that according to a recent session that we offered, we definitely saw with our client that the poles of the Earth could be shifting anytime between 2021 and 2150. And the download from that was that when the poles shift, the Earth is going to find her center. And as the Earth finds her center, so will the people on the Earth will also find their center. So, I mean, that could be next year or the year after. Like, it really, timelines are malleable, so we don't know exactly when, but it's definitely like coming close, you know, within our lifetime or even the next generation.
Yeah, because time is not linear at all. Think more in a quantum level, like, and if you don't know what quantum is, you can always just research like quantum mechanics, quantum theory, quantum entanglement, and you'll see that everything that you could possibly think of or imagine is connected to source consciousness, right? Yeah. So also, what I was thinking was that what we can do as a people to help the Earth in her transition as well as our own transitions is we can go out and we can bless the water with just sending the greatest love that we have within ourselves to the water. You can even do it before you take your glass of water. You can always just have this humble thought in mind of just love and peace and harmony in your water. You can go out and hug a tree. You can spend time with the forest. You can do anything and everything. Just basically project love everywhere you go. Just keep projecting love. Love to the birds, love to the cosmos, love to the stars, love to the trees and the shrubbery, all that stuff. Just because love is going to cancel everything out that is fear-based. And the lower energy beings, the low frequencies, do not exist where there is love. So you constantly just live in pure, true, authentic love, giving love to everything that has been created.
Amen. Yes. And also, two other downloads I think that are significant here is that, number one, this matrix that we're in right now is probably going to collapse within the next year or so.
As people wake up and start realizing the power of love.
Exactly. And also, advice from Mary Magdalene that was coming through me earlier was that how important it is to lay on the earth. The earth has electromagnetic frequencies that restore our energies. It's almost like we're a battery, and if we walk on the earth, you receive the love and you receive those energies that come from the earth. So there's something about camping or tenting or going out there and literally like laying yourself on the ground overnight. Hey, kitty. And something in my eye. And just laying yourself on the ground and receiving those transmissions from the earth and feeling her love. And literally you're recharging your whole electromagnetic frequency grid of your own personal body and your mind and your spirit. And you're just like, there's something to that. And that was the download I was getting, that we need to start as a collective doing that more and more, like connecting with the earth to usher in these changes. So like the movement is moving into the earth frequency more, stop, get off of our devices and technologies and start like...
unplug from media, for sure.
And like literally it's not like a extreme thing. It's not like, okay, just throw your TV out. No, it's more like just start moving into the frequencies of earth, because the earth is waiting for us as a collective to connect with her love. When I was in Texas once, I felt so much of Mother Earth's love. It was profound, and I just, it was a very real thing. It was like it was not like an electrical thing. It was more like the love of the mother coming through us and through the ground, and like she just loves her children so much. And why don't they connect with her? Like they're so disconnected in their heads, and they're just like walking around like TV heads. Like in David Icke's book, he has a really cool little diagram drawing there about TV heads, and it's like we need to get out of the TV head land and move into the ground and move into the earth and start gardening and start walking barefoot. Hey, kitty boy, you coming to join us?
Yeah, it reminds me of a thing I read about alchemy, right? Some people are like, whoa, alchemy, that's pretty interesting, or crazy stuff. But one book I was reading, and they were talking about how alchemy, like the real ancient way of alchemy, which is more than likely Egypt, because alchemy represents Egypt, how you would go to the underworld to receive your healing, and you would go to the upper world to receive instruction. So the beings from the underworld, they love you so much and have so much love and healing for you. You meet them halfway, and they connect with you and provide that healing. Like Hecate, if you ever heard of Hecate. She's the ancient, wise goddess that provides healing and instruction as well. And then if you want to get instruction from like the angels and your guides and higher beings, and then you go meet them halfway in the upper world, because that's why we here are in the middle world. As the way of the shaman, there are three worlds. There's the underworld, the upper world, I mean the middle world, and then the upper world. And that's basically just how it is. Like, interesting also, it reminds me of that movie, Little Nicky, which is funny. It's in one of those Adam Sandler movies. But he's, Little Nicky's obviously like the son of an angel and the devil. And the devil's like, oh, well, I rule hell, so you don't need to be here. And your mom's got heaven, so you might as well take the earth, like the middle world. So that's what it reminded me of right off the hand.
Definitely. And if you guys have any comments or, insights or questions, feel free to let us know, because we're open to a conversation here.
Most definitely. Also, if you are interested in the whole 13 sign astrology thing, really soon here, like in the next day or so, we're going to have audio clips which are going to give you your true sign and like the dates and everything.
Oh, that's exciting.
We're really excited about that. It'll be coming out. It's free to everyone, so feel free to listen to it. If you think you're an Aquarius, more than likely you could be a Capricorn, because this happened to me back in 2016. Actually, it was 2011 when someone came to me and they're like, hey, according to what's going on here, it was like 2011, they're like, you're actually a Capricorn, not an Aquarius. And I was like, at that time, I was so not thinking about that, and I was pushing that aside. And then later it comes back into my life, and this time I actually saw it for myself. It's like, whoa, okay, this is what a Capricorn is. Like illness as a child, born in a poor family, but you like literally come from the depths of the sea, and then you slowly climb your way to the top of the mountain. So like, it's a sea goat. It's really weird. Swimming, you got in land, and then you lose your fins, and now you have your legs, and you climb into the top of the mountain. And I was like, this relates to me, so I cannot like disregard it anymore. Then I was like, ever since I decided to accept that I'm actually a Capricorn instead of an Aquarius, life has changed for the better, and I couldn't have been more excited. It's like I was living a lie most of my life, and then I found out who I truly was. And it's really interesting too, because the Vedic astrology says the same thing. Yeah. And it's been around for a long time too. It's like, so just all of you out there, you think you're one sign, but you could actually be the sign prior. So like if you're thinking you're a Cancer, more than likely you can be a Gemini, and now you can hear her story.
Well, it's so true, because like when we first got together over 5 years ago, he started discovering this 13 sign stuff, because he was a 12 sign astrologer, and he discovered 13 sign, and it took a while for him to kind of get into it, and for me too. But then I remembered like all the times where I was like, oh my god, that like makes so much sense, because like I had a boss, an Indian boss, who did Vedic astrology back in New York, and he pulled me into his office and he asked me for my birthday, and he plugs in my information, and he's like, you're a Gemini, and I'm like, no, I'm a Cancer, and he's like, no, you're actually a Gemini. Like here's your chart layout, and I'm like, what? No, this isn't. I could not accept it. He even like read my palm and everything, and it's like he was a pretty cool boss, come to think about it. But anyway, so like later on, fast forward years later, I'm with Adam, and I'm like, well, this is kind of crazy. I think I see it now. I see the light. Like, yes, this is actually my true divine blueprint, because that other blueprint was just like totally false. It was like forcing me to live a different life. And I noticed that as soon as I started accepting and realizing that 13 sign astrology is way more accurate than 12 sign astrology, because it's actually showing in the stars, like the actual placement of the stars. Like,
astronomy.
12 sign astrology looks at charts on a computer screen. It doesn't show you the actual placements of the sky. But when you look at the actual placements of the sky, it correlates exactly with the 13 sign astrology. And it's also integrating Ophiuchus, which is a very powerful sign. And it's almost like they took Ophiuchus out because it's so powerful. And it represents the Divine Mother and divine healing. So it's almost like a weird deception on the planet where they want people to believe in the wrong things and the wrong signs, and it's going to keep people off the right track, you know. So we're trying to fix this problem here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things growing up. Like, she grew up under like a Catholic religion, and I grew up under like Mormon religion. So, like, we have been indoctrinated since we were kids into some kind of a religion, but then we realized as we got older that it didn't serve our highest and best anymore. So we decided to follow a path of spirituality, and lo and behold, we are spirits. So it's like, whoa, okay, now I feel like I'm really on the right path because I am a spirit having a human experience. I'm not a human having a spiritual experience. You know what I mean? So it's like, you receive knowledge, that such ancient knowledge that the ancestors knew long time ago, before religion ever came out into the picture. That you were spirits and you were just here to visit and move on wherever you're going to go next. You know, whether it be like some random planet out in a different galaxy, or even into a parallel universe or another dimension, you know, because we are multidimensional beings and multiversal. I'm sure you heard about the Mandela effects and stuff, and it just goes to show you right there, like, you could grow up thinking that, let's see, the lion and the lamb dwelled together in the Bible, but then you realize in this reality, where we are, the wolf and the lamb are dwelling together. And like, where the hell did the wolf come from? Seriously, right? And that's just one of those Mandela effects. And it just
the thing that really gets me is the Berenstein Bear.
The Berenstein and Berenstein.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's just random stuff like that.
I feel like what's happening though is like we're finally going into alignment. Like, there's just been this big fat lie that's been happening for a long time, and like finally people are waking up to the lie, but as a result of waking up to the lie that's been existing, they're also seeking the truth, and they're also receiving the truth, because you have to want to seek the truth in order to receive it. If you're choosing to live a lie, then you're going to keep getting what you're asking for and what you're choosing. So if you say, okay, universe, I want the truth, like, what is the real truth? That's when you get it. You know, that you have to ask and then you receive.
And you'll find that it is stranger than fiction.
Exactly.
Like, one example is, I was reading a book, and it mentioned how, like, stargates are real, and, you know, those Stargate series, I don't know if you ever heard of them, but like Stargate SG-1, for example, they have a Stargate, and they talk about where it's located, and I looked it up. I literally looked it up on the phone, and they do have a military base there. It's in Colorado, of all places. So more than likely, they're using a Stargate over there in Colorado, or there's a Stargate in Antarctica. Like, you know, like I said, truth is stranger than fiction, and you'll find out that everything sci-fi more than likely was something that someone is recalling from their memory.
Or, you know, sometimes I think like writers are channelers, and they're just either they actually know this information,
like George Lucas and the Star Wars.
Maybe they're just like channeling this stuff, and they're just like, they're picking it out of the consciousness, the air, and they're just, I mean, that's what we do. We channel this stuff, right? So, I mean, whether you're an artist or a writer or a psychic or a medium or what have you, like, you're tapping into a higher, you know, level of invisible information, and you're receiving that information, and your brain is accustomed to transmitting that information and translating it. And you're, you know, I'll give you an example. Like, we were in Florida, and we came back from the beach one weekend, and I did a little like art piece of like the sun and the hills and all that. Maybe we should show them. And literally, like on,
go ahead and
this
go
is
get it if
this
you
is
want.
before like COVID ever happened, right? Here, I'll just show it to you guys. I'll be back.
It's really interesting. Like, yeah, we found out a lot of things. How like artists, they channel things all the time from different dimensions. Like artists that do paintings and stuff, artists that are musicians. You know, it's just amazing how much information people can channel. We actually have a YouTube channel. What's our YouTube channel again?
Rainbow Warrior Coach Wellness and Coaching.
Rainbow Warrior Wellness and Coaching, and we have like an actual list of different musicians and the songs that they play. And, man, it's amazing stuff. Like the stuff that people channel.
Well, you see how those little guys, they look like little COVID corona things? So I did this.
Did you have the date on there too?
Right before. I did it December 2019.
Oh, so that was like before you even knew about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So December 2019, I did this.
I think it was only known by China, but we didn't know anything about it.
When did it hit? Like February or March? Or
I think it hit like in January, but then the whole country was under emergency in like March or something.
Well, I had no idea COVID was about to happen, and then I just decided to, and this is what the light, the sunlight brings you frequencies and information.
Oh, that's another
that
thing
trigger
too.
Your third eye to open. That can bring you psychic knowledge. This is why they want to keep us indoors, because they don't want us to have psychic knowledge. They don't want us to have the sun, the new vibrations and the frequencies that are coming down right now to the planet. They don't want us to receive that.
Yeah, there's the thing called sun gazing. As the sun sets, you just look up the sun, and some people, they'll see like UFOs, or they'll see like different interdimensional beings and stuff. Like, it's amazing, like the things that people talk about, what they see as their sun gazing and stuff. But also, the sun is naturally the giver of life, as you can see, because like all the plants rely on the sunlight. We rely on the sunlight. Like, we have vitamin D that doesn't even work unless the sun actually activates it. Like 20 minutes a day, if you can, be out in the sun. Just be outside at least 20 minutes a day. And also, vitamin C. It's amazing stuff. Like, I'm sorry for anyone that has lost a loved one due to COVID, but a lot of people are waking up and understanding that it's no worse than the common cold. Although it does target those people with those underlying health conditions, which is sad. But yeah, from what I understand more and more, is like the common cold. And the way to combat the common cold is to really uptake that vitamin C and go out into the sun.
Definitely. I mean, I know it's hard right now because of winter, but
well, it's only winter in the northern hemisphere. It's summer in the southern hemisphere.
Well, if you're in the southern hemisphere, then you definitely have more of a chance. But, all in all, like, nature has all the answers. Like, if you were to disconnect from the matrix, disconnect from media and the news and Facebook and Twitter, like, you would have no idea what is going on in this artificial reality, right? Because you're like in the woods, or you're on the beach, or you're in nature, and you're just completely connected to nature. And that's what nature wants. Nature wants, us to disconnect from the constant technologies, even if it's like once a week, and just go and like lay on the ground, walk on the ground, be in the sun, get those downloads and those informations that need to come through you, because sometimes it's really difficult to do that when you're cooped up in your job, or cooped up in your apartment, or cooped up in any kind of situation.
Well, the greatest minds throughout time, they've actually created the coolest inventions, or the greatest ideas, the best songs, the best poems, the best artwork, because they were out in nature and they were just observing nature. Like even Leonardo da Vinci, he created some interesting inventions, based upon just watching birds and the way they interact and fly and things like that.
I think we're gonna have to take a week off and go into the woods one of these days.
Well, most definitely.
Bring our cat.
Yeah, definitely. Nature is a very
Wait till the weather gets better.
Inspirational source.
Oh my gosh, guys. Well, this has been awesome. Like, there's no better way than to, like,
Were
send
there any
Christmas.
questions there?
Does anyone have any, like, comments or questions?
Hello to everyone out there. Frank, she calls me Hassie and Hippie's Empire.
Hey, guys.
We do.
Welcome.
We do see what's going on, so if you have any questions, just let us know, because we like to do a lot of research, but we also do a lot of channeling, a lot of meditation, and so, questions, we try to find answers as soon as possible.
If you guys want to check out our website, it's www.rainbowwarrior.me. We're still formulating it. I haven't, like, finished everything yet. I've been just juggling a lot of things in life right now, but I'm still putting together a lot. But Adam is an amazing astrologer and psychic and medium and coach, and I'm also a psychic medium coach, and we do this thing called QEC hypnosis, which is basically helping people to go deep into their soul and retrieve things and information that go into their past lives and help
remove
them
obstacles.
Remove obstacles and help them heal, and also go into the future and see what is opening up in that timeline for them.
Your greatest possible outcome.
Exactly. So you could see, like, okay, what you let go of and what's going to happen as a result. Sometimes these sessions run for about 2.5, 3 hours. It's pretty intense stuff, and it's powerful and amazing, and it's something that we've been practicing for over 4 years now. So
and
that's
everyone that we've ever given any of that service to,
mm-hmm.
they have nothing but good to say about it. It's amazing. They're just like, whoa, you don't know how much you helped me. This stuff is so amazing. And we even do it to ourselves. We do it to each other all the time. Yeah. Like, there was something that was bothering me, because when I was a kid, I was in the hospital for like 12 years, in and out of the hospital, and I was wondering what it's all about. And I found out the specific hospital that I was in was a research center. So they were actually testing me and medicating me and testing my abilities. I didn't know about this until I decided to go under the hypnosis. And then also another session came out where when they took out all my teeth out as a kid, I had all my teeth taken out. I didn't understand it, and I was like, what the heck does this all mean? Mm-hmm. And I found out they used it to clone me. Because the teeth are like the strongest source of DNA, because it's got the calcium and everything in it. This might be a little too much information to share, but I just wanted to let you guys know how real this stuff really is.
Yeah, it's let's just say, because I'm an initiated Akashic Record reader, so I've been practicing Akashic Record work since like 2013, and why I, as I can be a great channeler for people, I found that QEC sessions are the most profound for people, because, and I'll tell you in a minute, and then anyone's jump in, but because you get to see yourself in other lifetimes previous to this one, and also you get to see yourself in the future timeline of where you're going. It's a lot more powerful and visually, like, to see and taste and smell and, like, get all that information. And what we do is we guide people on that path of, like, receiving the past information and going into the future and healing in between whatever needs to be healed. So this is it's very similar. I want to say, like, closest to maybe Dolores Cannon's work. But this is something that, like, we just downloaded. Like, we haven't copied anybody's work. We just, like, downloaded this information, and we've been building upon, like, other informations that we've been receiving, but, like, creating our own thing ultimately, because we want to, like, basically have the best information and sessions that ever, like, we have a foundation of the past. Like psychology is constantly evolving. For example, I'm also almost done with school. I'm a clinical psychology major, but like basically psychology is constantly evolving, and so is the spiritual work that's been on this planet. So it's like we've been receiving all these downloads of how to create something that ultimately helps people to like fully manifest and fully step into their power and fully let go of their past and fully, heal themselves from the inside. So we can stop this crazy cycle of reincarnation that we've been dealing with on the planet for so long, and we can finally have that new earth experience so that we could like literally live for hundreds of years if we want to. Like that is the potential of the future, and I believe that it is going to happen.
Yes, definitely. And also, like, if you ever did any research or you have any thoughts on the shamanism, the shamans believe that we all have a bunch of shards that have been scattered throughout life. And we're just basically taking and looking for all those lost shards and bringing them back to integrate.
Absolutely.
To become one whole self again.
Yeah.
So as you go through these different lifetimes, you find those shards and you find what needs to be healed, who needs to be forgiven, things like that.
Definitely.
Also, you get your talents and skills back from those lifetimes. Like, let's say you were like a really awesome artist and you just don't have what it takes in this life, but in your past life you did. You can take that skill and bring it back into this life, because you are the same spirit, but you just go through different lifetimes, like as if, hey, I'm wearing this shirt today, but tomorrow I won't be wearing that same shirt, or these shorts right here. I'm going to change my clothes. So that spirit's changing clothes throughout lifetimes. And because the past, the present, and the future are simultaneously happening, so you get, different clothes through different lifetimes. Like whether it's past, present, or future, they're different clothes, but you're that same spirit trying on those clothes.
I'll give you an example. I mean, this is like one of our first stories with the QEC stuff that we do.
When I first started learning about it, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was, well, he put me under, right, in QEC, and he basically guided me to a past life, because I was in this life having like kind of a breast lump situation where it was like really hurting and stuff. And Adam said, let me do this session on you and see like if we get anything. And I was like, cool. So he guided me through this process, and I went into this past life where I was a ballerina in Chicago, and I was a dancer, what have you, and basically I was shot in that very spot that it was hurting in this lifetime, but I was shot in that lifetime. And it doesn't matter the story, but what matters is like the fact that I saw the situation, I saw the person who shot me, and I was being called to heal my connection to that person and forgive them for what they did. And as a result of forgiving them, literally the next day, I went to sleep, the next day I woke up, not only was the lump gone, but the pain was gone. Everything was gone from it, like everything. So like, what I realized, because I've been studying healing since 2005. And what I've actually longer than that, because I've been healing since I was a child, but ultimately professionally since 2005, I've learned that the reason why we have sicknesses and diseases and things like that tends to be an issue with our emotions,
lifetimes of trauma,
and our mental states. And sometimes there's subconscious things that are kind of like really underneath the subconscious mind, and that's what the QEC does. It helps to kind of bring the unconscious and the subconscious up into the surface so that we can look at it and then we can heal it. And as a result of healing that information and that events and those emotions surrounding it, then we can actually go on the path of physically healing whatever is happening in the real time. And sometimes like it will literally just disappear like magic, like it did for me that day. Like it just the next day it was completely gone.
And that's why we call it quantum.
And people say miracles and people say this and that, but it is quantum healing. And I feel like, you know, if you go to the source, the core of the issue, it will, and you clear it, then it will manifest outward and it will actually clear the issue surrounding it. So, you know, it's like, in a way, it's not miraculous. It's just common sense. It's just common physics in a way. You know, if you don't clean the engine of your car, then eventually your car can't run, right? Eventually, if you don't maintain your car, we are the car. This body is the car. If we don't maintain it on an internal level with our emotions and our mental states, then eventually our car will break down. And so really going to the core of the unconscious, and you know, we can do talk therapy till we're blue in the face, but what I've learned is that talk therapy can only go so far. When you do quantum healing, quantum energetic connection healing, you're going into different dimensions and levels of things that you can't really access all the time when you're in your mental kind of beta state of mind. You know, so you have to kind of go into the theta and the delta aspects of things in order to really access that consciousness so that you can truly heal things from those places. Because sometimes our pain is so deep that we can't even see it. We can't even know why we're going through the same thing over and over again. Why are we having the same traumas? You know, because there's a pattern, there's an imprint there. And sometimes it shows up in the astrology charts, right? It shows up in your divine blueprint.
It's like where, like for example, where, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this symbol or sign, or not a planet but an asteroid. It's called, some people say Chiron, I say Chiron. It really looks like a key, so I call it Chiron. Apparently, for 3.5 years, when Chiron does return, I think you're like 48 years old. Whenever you're 48, that's when Chiron returns in your life. And for 3.5 years, you're going to deal with whatever that wounded healer, that's Chiron, is telling you to deal with. Like for her, it's going to be self-recognition whenever...
Don't tell them I see.
Self-respect, self-recognition. All about the self.
And what is yours, mister?
Soon, later on in life, right?
What is yours?
Same thing, yeah.
Chiron.
When I turned 48, same thing.
But what is it in...
Aries also. Aries is about the self, yeah. So I was
wow,
we
have the same thing too?
Yeah. Of course, we're not the same age, but still. Also, Saturn represents karma from the past life and also this life. So like from your birth to 29.5 years of your life, you're dealing with past life karma from many different lifetimes. So sometimes it's a big shitstorm and you don't even know what's going on until you're like 29.5. And then for 2 years you're in a lessons. So you could be in like some really shitty relationships and getting kicked down to the dirt and everything, right? And then boom, you're like 29.5, and by the time you're like 31 or 32, you're like, okay, well that was a weird thing, but then now you're back on the track here. Because also not just the past life karma, you're also accruing the karma from when you are born to 29.5, whatever's going on in this life, which will come back to you when, 29.5 years again, which I can't do the math right now, but probably around 60 years old. So by the time you're 60, you're going to be dealing with it again. Because Saturn's like coming back and saying, hey, did you learn your lesson yet? Okay? Did you learn your lesson yet? So for example, if your Saturn is in Libra or whatever, you're going to deal with a lot of like relationship issues. And you might even have your parents divorced at an early age, because you're going to be dealing with relationship issues, right? And then when you get to that 29.5 to like 32 years old, then you start to go into like, oh, okay, this is how relationships work, and I know what to do now, and I'm not going to create any more karma. And then by the time you're 60 years old, you can have like the coolest life ever, and you're just like the chillest person, and you're like, man, I have the best relationships with everybody because You learn the lessons from Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Before Adam and I got together, I think it was another astrologer who said between the ages of 0 and 29, you're pretty much living in accordance with your previous lifetime. And then you hit 30 and you go through your Saturn return, and then you finally start living your life the way you're meant to be living it here and now. So that makes a lot of sense, right?
Totally. And, you know, like, I can tell you forever about everything, but, like, there are personal planets that affect you on a personal level, and there are also social planets that affect you on a social level. And then there are also generational planets that affect everyone and your generation. So, for example, I think Neptune, 14 years difference. So whoever's within now and 14 years from there, they're in the same generation, and they go through the same stuff as whatever Neptune sign is in as it moves forward into the cosmos, as all the planets are all constantly shifting. Especially, you know, I don't know if you ever heard about it. Mercury retrograde can be beneficial for people that are born during Mercury retrograde, but detrimental to other people, like your car might break down. There's some horrible communication issues. I know we have those issues sometimes because she's a Gemini and I'm a Gemini rising, so we do have a lot of communication issues during Mercury retrograde.
Oh my gosh.
There's one thing you should never do.
Mercury in retrograde sucks.
Never during Mercury retrograde put yourself in any contract. Because
Yeah.
it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. You want to avoid contracts. You want to avoid any kind
Try
of
to get it
commitments.
done before the Mercury retrograde if you can.
Mercury retrograde happens about 2 to 3 times a year, I think.
Yeah, and it lasts for like 6 weeks. Because there's a pre-shadow, then there's actually the retrograde itself, and then there's a post-shadow. So I think it's like a 6-week period where, good luck, you better just go within because you're not going to communicate very well. And it all depends on what sign Mercury's in,
That's
too.
the time when I hide in the house.
Like, for
Mercury
example,
retrograde.
if Mercury happens to be in Ophiuchus and it's retrograde, then you better go within and do some serious healing, because Ophiuchus is all about healing. Ophiuchus is like the god of healing. Ophiuchus is interesting because, you know, Ptolemy, when he created the whole astrological thing back in, like, I don't know, 580 AD, or I don't know, don't quote me on a time frame, but he decided to take away Ophiuchus, because naturally, even in, galactic signature Mayan calendar, whatever you want to call it, 13 months in a year, and each month was 28 days long, which created that 364 days. It was perfect balance. But Ptolemy threw it off balance by putting the 12 months and obviously the 12 signs and leaving out the 13th sign. But Ophiuchus, interesting story, was actually Asclepius, and he was one of the gods, you know, like of Zeus and stuff, and he basically, he was able to heal everybody, and no one was dying. And Hades was pissed off. He's like, what the hell, Zeus? There is nobody coming down here. I'm the ruler of nothing now because there's no one here. So Zeus went to go check on what's going on, and he found out that Asclepius was able to heal people with some kind of, like, as crazy as it sounds, medicine that snakes would ingest to continue to heal and regenerate. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Zeus decided to kill him, and in honor of all of the things that he did, he created the constellation, which you now know as Ophiuchus, which is the serpent bearer, which is the keeper of the esoteric knowledge, because in ancient times the snake represented wisdom, right? So esoteric knowledge, if you know a true Ophiuchus, which is between November 30th and December 17th, they will tell you things. They don't even know why they're telling you those things, but they will tell you things, and you'll be like, whoa, how did you know? Or where did you find this out? Mm-hmm. And they don't even know, because they're just like keepers of esoteric knowledge. Unless they're, like, you know, more conscious, and then they're aware of, you know, oh, I channeled it from the cosmos or something like that. But unconscious ones, it's funny because they'll tell you things and you'll be like, God, it's so profound. You're not. I don't know what's going on. You know,
It's crazy.
it is.
It's crazy.
Astrology itself is like its own language. It's pretty interesting. You know, tarot actually happens to be a combination of astrology and numerology. That's where they get tarot from.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm getting a little tired. I don't know about you, but it is late here where we're at. So it's actually 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. So I think we might say goodnight.
Very much so. Yes. Well, we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
And a Happy New Year. If we don't come back on, but we might because they're, you know, I'm pretty sure you're interested to know what's in store for the next year. I know there's a lot of psychics out there.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you these predictions for like, oh, the year ahead and stuff. Sometimes they'll charge you. Sometimes it's free. It all depends. But yeah, we have some predictions too that we'd like to share with you.
Yeah.
We might do it for New Year's Eve. It all depends.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, what downloads we get, and you know, I actually go back to school the 6th, so I have more work with school, but
yeah, she also was designing the website. It's a lot of work there.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of tech savvy person, so I don't know how to design
You
a
got your
website.
own talents, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, we love you guys. We send you so much love and light, and not the false light, the good light, the true light, the Christ light, the ancient light in our hearts, the angelic light, and
the pure source consciousness.
The pure light.
Yeah.
Okay, the pure light. We are hardcore pure lighters. We're not the light and love, the flurry, you know, we go into the shadow and we come out, you know, like we're all about integration and balance. We're not the crazy woo-woo, you know, love and light people. Not that we want to judge them or anything, just, you know, we've been through hell and we've come back. Let's just say that. We've gone through a lot. We're more of the shamanic love and lighters, you know, the namasteers. We're not like the frou-frou one, you know, that you see, you know, where there's no depth there. We have a lot of depth. We can go deep with people. So
deep that you can heal yourself instantaneously by going to different lifetimes and really just clearing anything and everything that is causing trauma on your spirit.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in past lives, doing a session with us, QEC, quantum energetic connection, astrology, anything like that, feel free to go to our website, rainbowwarrior.me, and give us a holler. I think we have a contact page there. Just send us a message if you're interested in a session. If you need some assistance or coaching or anything having to do with your path, your spirituality, what you're learning, healing, any of that stuff, like
even
mediumship, departed loved ones, like we are so here for you. So just know that you're loved and supported. And
she was able to help a guy that lost his wife and stuff. She was able to help him out a lot.
Yeah, I've done quite a few sessions with many different types of situations, and so have you. So
yes, yeah. Like we're twin flames, so we pretty much have the same kind of skills and stuff.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. We love you, and
most definitely.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year,
much love,
Happy Holidays, and we'll see you soon. Bye.